Today is Wednesday, March 22nd, 2017. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is our recap of Survivor Game Changers, Episode 3.
Episode 3, 4, Week 3. Week 3. This is the definite thing that we can use.
Shall I start saying Week 3?
Yeah, maybe we'll switch to using weeks for this season.
I do in some of my labels because of that.
This episode was titled The Tables Have Turned. Turned out Hali said that. Previously on Survivor, Probst tells us there was a surprise tribe shuffle. JT became outnumbered. Troyzan had no control, but Brad held all the power, and Brad rallied his tribe to vote out Caleb. So it turns out being a Brad story there.
Yep.
Okay, back at the new Mana tribe on night 9 after voting out Caleb, Sierra's comforting Ty, and Ty tells us that this time he's playing with his head and not his heart. He's not going to play emotionally.
Basically, he had to prove that to them.
That's what they're showing us with this scene. He's thanking them for trusting him, right? So it looked like that worked out the way Ty wanted it to work out for Caleb to go. Okay, this is going to be a 2-day cycle. It's just everything happens on day 10 and day 11, and it is jam-packed. Day 10, they're there again with the new Mana tribe. Hali and Debbie are talking.
Or Hali.
Yeah, Hali. Hali and Debbie are talking, and they're discussing how they both feel like they're playing well, basically.
Debbie's doing well because she's letting everyone think she's going along with them.
Yeah, she's not being confrontational. And she agrees with Hali that Ty is going to go next. Yeah, and it comes down to that. And then Debbie tells us in her confessional that I'm going to tell Hali whatever it is she needs to hear, whatever I sense she wants to hear. And then we see Debbie and Sierra, Don Thomas, and Brad and Ty talking, and they're saying, yeah, it's Hali next. Somebody has to go. It's her.
And I thought it was interesting that Debbie was pointing out Hali has no options. Turns out that was not completely accurate.
Yeah, the editors like to play with us like that, huh? Okay, boom, right into a reward challenge, but it's going to be one of those special ones where only 2 castaways from each tribe actually get to participate.
Now, why do you think they did that? Do you think there was a reason why they wanted to shake things up and some other motive?
Put all the pressure on two people?
Yeah.
Well, with the returning seasons, they look for those hero opportunities, I think. They stage certain things so that someone can be a hero for the tribe. And this feels like one of those scenarios. And when you have Ozzy in the game and Malcolm, these guys that are known for being able to, come from behind and win or just do incredible things in challenges, that might have been part of the driver for them to stage it that way. I don't know anything for certain. So it's part balance, obstacle course. That's all to get the sandbags, and then it's knock down 9 targets by throwing sandbags at them. 9 sand-filled bamboo pieces, segments there. Their reward, coffee could be cool to get coffee or tea out there. I'm sure something cold is huge.
Anything out there is huge.
Yeah, is big. It's just
whether you like it at home or
doesn't
not.
necessarily add a lot in the way of nourishment for them. I don't know that it's going to be pivotal. Although, who knows? Maybe coffee can help to a degree. In some ways, it's a performance-enhancing drug. It can be a PED,
they
right?
They had sugar, too, so...
Professional bicyclists use caffeine like that. They drink tons of caffeine. So they get coffee with all the things to put in your coffee and chocolate chip cookies. And then the second winner gets a thermos of...
I don't think they were chocolate chip, but they were chocolate.
Thermos of iced coffee.
Which wouldn't normally appeal to me at all, but I'm sure out there it would be nice.
Yeah, just something with flavor is going to be a huge change from the day-to-day warm water coming out of the well.
So for the Mana tribe, Ty and Brad, and for the Tavua tribe, Ozzy and Troyzan, and for Nuku, JT, and Malcolm. And was it any surprise to you that Ozzy was in the lead?
No, he did great. At one point, Zeke yells out, "Way to be Ozzy!" he's through the first segment before anyone. He's like, "Yay, you're an Ozzy! Way to go, Ozzy! Way to be you!"
Were you surprised when he actually dropped it?
A little bit, yeah.
But then he turned around and went back, and I thought, oh, he gave JT and then shoo, there he went right past JT. Yeah. And I think...
Although JT closed with him, he got there just seconds behind him in the end.
Yeah, he didn't have an extraordinary lead, but still, I still enjoy seeing Ozzy excel.
So then
challenges.
Malcolm steps up and starts knocking over the targets. So does Troyzan. You thought Troyzan was throwing funny, but it's sidearm. It's kind of...
Yeah, which is kind of funny.
A little different, but there's lots of people who throw sidearm. You see sidearm pitchers in the major leagues.
Malcolm was awesome.
Every once in a while. Yeah, he did great. But who did even better?
Culpepper.
He did, didn't he?
In the end, yeah.
Yeah, overall, his performance was more impressive. More pressure, less time.
Yeah.
And he ends up squeezing out the second place win for the thermos of iced coffee.
However, if Troy had not, kind of dropped the ball, so to speak, and kept throwing over the targets, he wouldn't have had a chance. Though he did excellent to come back like that. I did not expect that. When he said to Ty, come on, take your time, this, and I can catch up, I was thinking, yeah, right.
So definitely felt like a hero's challenge. We had some heroic efforts and some heroic demonstrations there. And Hali even says to Brad after he was done, that was like watching the Terminator go through that challenge. She's likening him to the Terminator.
And Cirie tells us Troy's life in the game was already hanging on by a string. And
she was laughing. He was terrible. His life's hanging by a string.
Yeah.
Just pretty mean of her.
I don't know that I heard her in quite that vein, but okay.
We'll go back and listen.
If you say so.
Yeah. Okay, Tavua, day 10. Ozzy says you win some, you lose some. He's not too bummed out by it because he's confident that he can be a provider.
He doesn't want him to give him anything. Let me provide it.
Yeah, it makes him more valuable. It can deliver this great protein. Sure enough, he gets a spotted ray and then heads back out to fish. There was a good extra video where he was talking about how much he liked this reef, and he's definitely doing the Ozzy thing. He looked like he was way down there, going up under the different portions of the reef when he was hunting.
Well, I thought it was good that, even Andrea was in awe watching. She knew about Ozzy, but just actually see him doing all that, I was like,
getting to live it.
Wow.
Yep. Okay, we bounce over to the new Nuku there on day 10. They're enjoying their coffee.
Buzzing.
Sandra tells us that this tribe's got it going on. She's the queen here. She's running the show, and everyone knows it.
I wish she'd quit doing that.
It's a classic survivor sin. It seems like the balance is going to come due, and I was happy to see her doing it because I figured she was going to go home. I had her going. I thought, this is perfect. This is exactly how it should all happen. She's way overconfident.
Yeah, you even said that during tribal camp, so you were still completely confident. Overly confident.
JT and Malcolm are planning. They both have each other's back. I got your back, man.
Okay, I still wasn't sure here if Malcolm was serious or if JT was just naive.
If we lose, it's bang, bang, boom, and I'll make my move. Okay. Get rid of Sandra. That's what JT tells us. I like that. That was good. I'm totally with JT at this point in the episode.
Well,
he reeled me in with the bing, bang, boom.
Are you really that naive? You're completely buying what Malcolm's selling at this point?
Yeah. We know JT's got a naive streak. Some people,
part of his charm,
exploit it.
Okay, so we head right on into the immunity challenge, and I'm like, what?
Yeah,
19 minutes into the show, and we're already on the immunity challenge.
Day 11, so it's all going down in 2 days.
Yeah.
Come on in, guys. Community challenge time. Gonna do the classic, one of the caller with the blindfolded pairs of players.
So what did you think about the callers?
I was surprised that Culpepper was not effective, according to his tribe mates. They were having a lot of trouble hearing him. I thought Varner did great, and I guess Cirie did good.
She did better than I thought she would do. I thought
But it was kind of like a shriek, so
well, yeah, but
maybe that
as
cut
long
through.
as long as it stands out. I thought maybe the guys would drown her out.
Mm-hmm.
And but I was pleasantly surprised that she managed it. Were you surprised that Jeff told them right up front that only one tribe would be safe from tribal
We didn't
council?
tell them right up front. He told them after they decided who was sitting out. I thought that was an interesting timing thing. Oh yeah, by the way, only one tribe wins. Yeah, I thought that certainly provided the right motivation for a great challenge.
Yeah, I thought so too. I thought it really would light a fire under them. It's like, oh, okay, not just a normal. We gotta be the winner.
Yeah.
Little added pressure there.
They made it look like Ty and Debbie were just wandering around, but they ended up getting, I think, 2 of the 3 bags, right? So eventually they got it together. So maybe they weren't all that bad, but Nuku got their 3 bags first. Malcolm fell, and he was just chuckling the whole time when he went to jump over one of the obstacles, right? And
he did a girly
face planted.
Woo!
Yeah.
I thought that was really cute because, you could tell he thought, oh, he had this. He just leaped right over that and then caught his foot and went down.
Yeah, JT and Malcolm were doing wonderful on the maze. Certainly we've seen that before where you have to do that. They've had it where you had to do it with 2 players last season. This was a 1-player season, and with this particular portion of the maze and working the 3 cue balls through it, pool balls, then they had to trade out as soon as someone got it, or if you wanted to give up and let the next person on the tribe have a shot at it.
I think that's what what the girls were doing there at first, was they were like, okay, I'm not good at this.
Sierra
Let's just
blew
stop.
it. Haley came up. She's like, no, I don't have it. Turned it over to Culpepper.
Yeah, but don't you think they did that deliberately to get it back to somebody who could? They just dropped it
I think
quickly.
I don't know that they both dropped it quickly. They both spent some time doing it. It's always hard to tell how much time's elapsing in the challenges.
I didn't see it that way, actually. But anyway, I thought they were going through quickly and dropping so that they could get back to him.
Yep, Ozzy gets in there, gets the first one, and then Sarah gets one, and then it ends up being a big showdown between Nuku and Tavua with Varner against Andrea. Varner was so close all that time. I thought this is going to be great. My boy's going to get to be a hero. He's going to win the challenge. Going to save them.
And instead, he blew the challenge.
He blew it in a complete. I mean, like you had to work at it a little bit. He didn't just fall to the challenge itself. He actually had to roll the ball around and into the hole to drop it out, right? It took a little work to goof it that bad.
I'm sure it wasn't that hard.
Yeah.
Especially once your
But it looked like it was extra effort. You had to actually take the ball out of the inner ring where you were somewhat safe.
I'm sure.
Roll it around and drop it in a hole in a ring outside of the inner ring.
But I'm sure that you jinxed him with your overconfidence.
You want to put it on me?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I think you jinxed him.
Well, kudos to Andrea. She did great. She got the win for the Tavua tribe.
Good for her.
Tavua is
immune. And
immune.
Of course, Jeff pointed that out. Andrea pulled it off over Varner. Mm-hmm. I'm sure Varner was going, thanks, Jeff.
Yeah. So Nuku and Mana at one tribal council. And your immediate thought is, oh, okay, so there's a simple numbers advantage. Or are they going to go 6 versus 5 and that's it?
So, how do you think it would have been different if he had waited until they got to tribal council to tell them?
Tell them what? That only one person was going, or what?
Yes.
Oh, that would have made it more of a scramble, I guess.
Because they would have gone in thinking they had to vote someone on their tribe off, cut and dried, blah blah. But he gave them all that time to work on it, think about it, strategize.
We were talking about this earlier in the week, right? We were thinking, oh, maybe the reason they're sending 2 tribes is they're just desperate to have that new twist with the tie votes come into effect. And they're using this situation to trigger that scenario because they want to see it go down and see how it plays out.
Yeah, well, wouldn't
to see
have necessarily
if they'll
worked
draw rocks.
because of the tribes that lost.
Yeah.
The numbers weren't even. But.
Well, you don't know. That's the thing. We were initially talking while we were watching the episode. Oh, is it just going to be a straight numbers thing? They got 6 versus 5, and that ends up being the big part of the pre-tribal discussion, obviously. But you got JT. If JT would have flipped back, then You know, it could go different ways. But yeah, there were 11, so it's kind of hard. But you could end up with a tie.
Well,
you could still end up with a tie with one person voting out in left field or something.
But how would that have helped JT? Because if they don't split up again right away, they stay in 3 tribes. How does that help him? If they lose again, then he's automatically a goner.
How does what help him be a little more clear?
If he flips openly and they see that, so
it doesn't. That's all part of the risk.
It doesn't help him in the tribe.
And that's actually...
Or the game, unless he gets through.
That's a discussion that comes up once they do get to tribal, and we're almost there.
Right.
But we start over on Nuku on day 11, and Malcolm was saying JT and I wanted Sandra, and JT's telling his tribe, look, I'm solid, I'm with you, we're 6. And Sandra says, hey, we vote 6 strong when we vote out Sierra. That's Sandra's plan the whole time. She wants to get rid of the strong female, because that helps who? Sandra. Yes. JT's not really interested in that.
But all the females are stronger than Sandra.
Yeah, exactly.
Except maybe Cirie.
Exactly. So JT, he isn't so keen on that. He wants to vote out Ty, and Varner's he's given the commentary on this. He's like, yeah, we're not all on the same page at Survivor, so we got to work all this out. Malcolm's asking JT, who do you think Brad wants to target? And they both agree that it would be Sandra. And I'm thinking, yes, I'm checking my second box on the way to victory here.
Overly confident.
Yes.
Again.
Well, I'm just seeing it line up. It's all falling into place. Yep. If Mana votes for Sandra and Malcolm and JT are thinking that's how, then it's easy. Sandra goes. And JT's buzzing from some coffee at this point.
Probably they all are. You have to admire Ty, though, for going, I need an idol, and he just goes and finds the clue and then runs right on over and gets the idol.
Or we need one for sure, yeah.
Well, but was it there all along? That's my question. Was it hidden there all along? Because the other one was hidden at a challenge. But they did say it was going to be different places this time. Challenges, tribal, camps, whatever. So it's interesting that one was in their camp.
Yeah.
For him to find without having to go
we don't know.
To a challenge or tribal. My first
You got to think it might have been, though.
Yeah, my first thought was when he got the clue, oh, wow, is it going to be hidden at tribal council? And he has to be willing to go get it.
But it didn't play out that way.
Nope, it didn't.
When we go over to Mana on day 11 to see how they're thinking prior to going to tribal council, Debbie's saying, hey, we got to convince them to take out Sandra. And Brad, here's where, these are the things that throw off Culpepper's game, right? Where he says, hey, Blue Eyes. I believe that's how he was addressing her.
Yeah.
He's challenging Hali. He wants to know if she's loyal to them. I think that's a classic mismanagement right there. Really needs to play it much softer and not alienate her. That seems alienating. That doesn't sound like a way to have an inclusive conversation. Hey, Blue Eyes, are you with us?
Well, it's almost condescending since they're both attorneys. But he's seeing her as a budding attorney. She's not, an established.
Or you could say he's objectifying her as highlighting the color of her eyes.
Too.
I don't think it has anything to do with that.
Well,
Hali says she has options, and this is where we get the title, right?
Somewhere in
she
there.
got short and long-term considerations at this point in the game.
So, were you surprised when Ty told that he had an idol and decided to use it for the tribe and not for himself? Though Sierra
I guess a little, although it was just sort of building towards that.
I'm not sure who was talking when Sierra's like, no, wait.
It was Debbie.
Finish.
We're not quite there yet. Yeah, so Ty tells us it comes down to JT, and he needs a hidden immunity idol. Idol. And he finds a clue, and then the clue turns out that, it's there in the camp, like you were just saying. So he tells us he's got the key to life in the tribe. And it turns out the hidden immunity idol actually had a key in it. I think that's what cued him for that. I didn't notice that at first, but we were going back and watching the different sections. So I don't feel like I was completely surprised by it. It just felt like it was building to him doing that for the tribe, revealing it. And, Hali's not there when he does that. So I don't think she necessarily knew that he had it. Because it's really just the four of them. It's Brad, Debbie, Ty, and Sierra when he reveals it. You don't see Hali there.
I don't know that means she wasn't there, just because she wasn't in the shot.
Well, there's a couple of shots when he reveals that he has the idol after the hugging and the kisses that he gets are over, where the four of them are all kind of huddled close together. So that really evens things up. You're going into tribal council now. It's amped up to another level, right? Now they have a secret weapon that they can pull out. So it's not just an overwhelming numbers game.
Yeah, which they really needed. But I don't think Sandra was buying that they had an idol. Well, we know she wasn't buying it, but I think the reason behind that is it would have been crazy for them not to pretend they had one, even if they didn't, right? To kind of throw the other group off, since it was a 6-5.
I understand what you're saying, but they talked about Nuku discussing the event that they did have idols at tribal council.
Mm-hmm.
So they tried to plan for it on some level. According to what Varner said, they worked through lots of different scenarios. Certainly, and when we start off tribal council, Malcolm's responding to Prope's questions about how does it feel, and he's saying, yeah, this is really different. Little does he know how different and how much he's about to feel, right? And when Culpepper's asked about the 6 versus 5, he says in response, well, it's a standoff. We've drawn our guns. We're both pointing at each other. The question is, how's it going to play out?
Brad came very close to an eye roll.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
In response to what?
To Sandra saying, all our guns are pointed at you.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody's flipping, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys.
But he's used to that.
Yeah,
he's
but
used to
like
smack
I said,
talk.
his eyes was as close as Brad will probably come to an eye roll, in my opinion.
Debbie quickly makes it difficult on JT and Hali, saying JT used to be with us, like really, really close to us.
Well, she didn't even say JT, just someone over there, and then when Jeff asked, it's not like everybody didn't know, but.
Sandra tries to jump on the past tense there, used to.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think JT meant when he responded to all that? And he said, people expect me to put myself at risk. It seemed like he was giving a message to the Mana tribe. Or maybe he was talking to Brad, right?
Culpepper, well,
don't expect me to stick my neck out for you is what it sounded like,
and
right?
yet he kind of did. So, Well, Culpepper just comes back with, going after Sandra, since she's the one that's...
Actually, he named 2 people.
Well, he did, but he said Malcolm, but he's like, you got a 2-time winner over there, so...
I'm all completely hopeful at this point. Things still seem to be lining up in my favor.
Yep, you were still giddy.
Of course, Sandra tells us she knows she's not going.
I had JT going, so I wasn't even in the
run-in at this point, you didn't think?
No. Well, because I thought Tavua was going to lose, so,
And then the
that was my guess.
Editors show us again what looks like Culpepper making a huge strategic error here in alienating Hali by saying Hali would become enemy number 1 if she didn't vote with us.
Yeah, that wasn't very wise. That's just another way to alienate her. And I like that she called him on it. Good for you, Hali.
Yep. Other people called him on it too. They're trying to...
It's like, Brad, shut up. She can't help. So from then on, though, I think you probably noticed it was Sierra and Debbie cultivating Hali. I think Brad kind of shut up after that. Hopefully someone gave him a look.
I don't know that they cultivated her a whole lot, because things escalated when JT asked Malcolm, hey, should I go out and talk to Brad?
Yeah. Why? Why would he say that?
He wants to ensure that they're indeed voting for Sandra or whoever.
But he doesn't tell him at that time.
Right. I'm trying to answer your question.
Who they're voting for.
Exactly.
They're voting for
I love you, brother, but they're voting Sierra out.
So
at which point Hali follows JT's lead, and she said, well, if that's the way it's going to be, she goes over and talks to Sandra. And she tells Sandra, vote Brad, it's better for us.
Trust me.
Brad goes back to JT, you swear? JT says, yeah, I swear.
It's Sierra.
And this is from the previously on Survivor where Probst was speechless.
Well, but Sierra and Debbie, after that, they were the ones that were saying, stay with us, Hali, stay with us. They don't want you. They don't need you, blah, blah, blah. See, stay with us. This is your best shot. Stay with us. And I thought,
Well, that was after the, yeah.
I wondered if the girls had told her, we'll get Culpepper later.
Yeah,
We'll
I think
get him,
if
but stay with
anyone
us."
in that group has superior situational awareness, it's Sierra. Because back when Ty was about to reveal that he had that necklace, it was Sierra that shut down Debbie. Debbie starts talking over Ty, and Sierra shuts Debbie down so that Ty can share
Can
his...
finish what he was saying.
Yeah.
She sensed something,
Yeah.
and she wanted him to finish his thought.
And Sierra ends up picking up on the fact that, hey, I think they're voting me.
Yeah.
I think I'm the target.
Well, and JT confirmed it. So
Yeah.
there was no guessing on their part because JT told them, I still don't understand why he did that. I get the only thing I can think is I thought he and Malcolm were going to vote Sandra at first and go along with them. But then I thought, well, they want Sandra out. But he didn't say Sandra till later, till they started talking more. He didn't say that right away, or at least they didn't show it.
Right.
He just told them who they were voting for.
Yes. Well, that would have been a way for them to get rid of Sandra and not get any blood on their hands, I guess. Although,
Yes, would
at
have
this
been
stage in the game, I don't think that matters.
It would have been, but wouldn't you thought he would have said something like, Malcolm and I are with you. We're hoping to get back with you.
Yeah, who do you want to take out?
Just in case. I mean, I guess he thought just telling Brad to vote Sandra would be enough for him to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But
And
that
Hali
didn't
was
happen.
trying her best to get them to get rid of Brad. Mm-hmm. To get them to throw the votes at Brad.
And I'm sure Malcolm wishes they had listened now. Though, you have to go with how you feel in the moment, but...
Sandra was positive no one over there had an idol.
And positive that she wasn't going home.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, but it could have so easily gone that way.
So Ty turned around, took out the hidden immunity idol, and asked Brad who he should give it to. Should he give it to Brad or should he give it to Sierra?
It?
And Brad says, give it to Sierra, at which point he does. And JT looked utterly shocked. So the votes come down. 6 votes does not count for Sierra Don Thomas. 3 votes in for Malcolm. Malcolm's out.
Well, why do you think he was shocked that he gave it to Sierra?
Who?
JT told him who they were voting for.
Well,
Why
I don't
did
think
he
that
do
was
that?
it. I think he was realizing, geez, Malcolm's gone because of what I did.
Oh, no, not at that point. You've jumped way ahead. He didn't know anything at that point who
Well,
they
I don't
were
know where
voting
you
for.
are then, because I've just read out the
When
votes.
Ty turned around and gave her the idol, he just still didn't know who they voted for.
Right.
And he'd already told him it was for her, and Brad was protecting her. So why would he have been surprised then?
I don't know.
Well, that's what you were saying. You
Probst.
thought he was surprised.
Probst tells us that this is a shining example of how entertaining and devastating the game is, and I couldn't agree more. I had so hoped Sandra was going, and not only did she not go, I lost a safe point for Malcolm.
Well,
I didn't see Malcolm coming under the
only
target.
irony of it is that Malcolm was targeting Sandra.
Mm-hmm.
And people who target Sandra.
So was JT. So
Yeah.
was Hali.
Well, he could be next.
So was
Hali
Brad.
wasn't targeting Sandra. She was targeting Brad.
Oh, Brad. Yeah, that's right.
I think she was trying to get them to change things because I think their original plan was to vote Sandra. Originally,
Yeah.
I thought it might have been, but they changed after all that and went
Yeah, it
after Malcolm.
definitely wasn't. Yeah. I don't think it was to go after Malcolm.
But Malcolm may not know that, but
Yeah.
we can ask some questions tomorrow.
Definitely.
But-
Michaela tells us as they're headed out of tribal council that JT set us up. So JT's gonna have to answer some questions when they get back to camp for sure.
I still feel kind of in a daze, shocked. Like, what? Even though beforehand, when we were choosing who we thought was at risk, Malcolm was one of the people I said. I thought JT and Malcolm, Sandra, and who else did I say on the Ozzy? Thought Ozzy would be a threat because we had kind of thought, okay, we thought Mana would win. They'd come back and win, and we thought Nuku and Tavua would be the 2 going, and so we were just picking out biggest threats out of those. But I really didn't think during that tribal council that, because, Malcolm wasn't brought up.
You're
except
basically
the
saying you were
once.
blindsided that Malcolm got
I
voted
was,
out.
yeah. I was just kind of shocked.
Yeah, it was exciting. Certainly.
It's almost like Malcolm was so shocked because he had just said if he got sent home, he'd go down and he'd be cussing, carrying
Down the path.
and he was like he couldn't even
Speechless.
talk.
Yeah.
Just completely speechless, stunned.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he probably was. And I felt really bad for him. I was like, oh, I just thought, I think he really thought he could win this one. And most of them went in with that.
Yeah, you don't want to go in thinking I'm going to lose, but he was certainly talking a big game before the season started. So.
Well, and that it wasn't even his tribe that voted him out, which is different.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like he'd done anything wrong, really, on his tribe.
Well, he wanted to be part of a big play, big move.
He got that wish.
Oh, goodness.
That wasn't the one, I'm sure.
I didn't know he saw it going down for sure, but he's definitely part of one of this season's biggest moves. Next time on Survivor, JT's on the hot seat, Probst tells us, and he's claiming back at camp there on night 11, I didn't tell Culpepper who we was voting for.
Liar.
Yeah, and Sandra tells us in a confessional when they cut to the next scene that this was JT's dirty deed, and then Debbie's having an episode. I'm not sure what's going on there. I don't think it has anything to do with what happened at Tribal Council. That doesn't make sense to me.
That doesn't fit.
She says, I was loyal to you completely, and you crushed my heart. And Ty tells us she's a crazy lady, which she got to experience in his first season.
And she's really upset, though. I don't know that she's just playing to the cameras.
Yeah.
She seems really upset, so
Genuinely, yeah, something happened.
I have trouble understanding what happened that quickly.
I don't think they gave us enough information. Yeah. You're supposed to maybe think it had something to do with what happened here, but I don't think that's the case because I don't see any evidence of that. Not that doesn't mean that Debbie couldn't still have an episode. Logic does not have to be present for her to... Well,
and it worked out great for their tribe, so...
Yeah, it's hard to understand why.
Yeah, and
Malcolm tells us in his parting words, there will be no Christmas card for JT this year.
Well, so
bummed.
Obviously he thinks JT turned on him too and betrayed him, which in a way he did, though I don't think he had any intention of it going that way.
Yeah, with that desired outcome. It's not really on him. As a result of him sharing that.
Well, I won't say it's not on him.
JT consulted Malcolm before he did it.
Yeah, but I still am not sure why he chose to do that. It's like he was trying to play both sides of the fence in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, you might want to pick a side.
He didn't anticipate that they might use that information with an idol because, as Sandra had evidenced, they didn't really believe that anyone on Mana had an idol. And so maybe with that, mindset, JT thought he was helping his buddy and letting his buddy, Brad, know that, hey, they're going to take Sierra out. It's not you. You're okay. And then he came back to him that whatever it was, third or fourth time, and said, go after, target Sandra, take her out.
Which wouldn't have made any difference if they were all going to write Sierra down. Sandra wasn't going anyway.
Yeah. Of course, there's another potential explanation, which is there's some other things that happened that we didn't get to see, and you can be sure that we'll be asking Malcolm about that.
Yeah, I kind of thought... If
there's something missing here.
It would make sense to me if he and Malcolm said, yeah, let's tell him it's Sierra so they can protect her and then tell him to vote Sandra. Okay, and that way they do what JT and Malcolm want, which is Sandra to go home. And it works out for both tribes that way. Mm-hmm. And it could buy them some favor with Culpepper and their tribe. So that's the only thing I can figure out. Anything else just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
But either way, JT did betray them. He wasn't trying to betray Malcolm, however, but it worked out that way. It backfired.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else that stood out?
No. How about a JSFL update?
In the JSFL game, Hatter, Noom, and Trey are tied for first place. 58 people lost their USB 24 Malcolm.
Well, he was the most popular USB, right?
He was number one. Yeah. 28 people earned a vote-off point. Congratulations. And 100 people lost a safe point. Stacy.
There were quite a few of us that thought Malcolm was okay.
I didn't put any of the biggies like that. Okay. I did put Andrea safe, though, which I had said I thought she would go, but so I was good there. Okay, as far as the challengers, Iron Dave is still in the lead with 16. Okay. With 14, Cold Mike, Drew, and Nina. 13, Brandon, Hubaloo, James and Shannon, Jeremiah, and Jonathan. With 12, Parker, Seth, and Stacy.
Mm-hmm.
And with 10, Jody.
All right. Yep.
You're not in the middle anymore.
I took a step backwards, yeah.
Yep, just about over the
tribal
edge.
councils like this surprise a lot of us veterans. So even the skilled veterans like myself can be caught off guard when Probst chooses to change the game up like this. But it sure was exciting, and I can say
smackdown.
I enjoyed it just the same. How about you?
I enjoyed it. I'm just still a little bit...
You just flabbergasted? You bum-puzzled? How did this happen?
No, I even understand how it happened. That's why I don't know. I just feel like I'm milking him. I'm like, what happened?
Mm-hmm.
What happened?
How did this happen?
How did this happen?
Wasn't supposed to happen this way.
I didn't see this coming.
It's supposed to win.
So I just, I felt bad for him. I mean, it was exciting to watch all this, but it was confusing. And I feel like we should have seen more or something. We should have gotten... I have questions now.
Okay. Well, maybe we can get some answers
JT's not here to
tomorrow.
answer my questions. But maybe Malcolm can.
Yeah, maybe. Although I don't think so. I don't know he's going to have a lot of answers.
Well, he might now.
It certainly caught him off guard, too.
Yeah.
And he didn't seem as involved in all of the discussions that were going on. At one point, he and Sierra were just sitting there chatting while there were discussions going on all around both of them at Tribal Council.
Yeah, that reminds me. That was almost a kiss off. She reached over.
Oh, she did. She
kissed
gave him
Malcolm
a peck
while
on
they're still reading Malcolm.
Yeah.
Malcolm, and he's like in shock, and she just kisses him on the cheek.
Now he might have thought it was affectionate, but she had been targeting him all along.
Yeah, I don't think it was affectionate.
No.
I don't know what that was.
It was a little
exactly.
mafia kiss. That's what that was.
I think it was her excitement and enthusiasm that she had escaped.
Not me, it's you.
It's you.
Just like I wanted.
Yay.
Not only is it not me, it's you, and I targeted you.
Yep. So, okay. But it just seemed mean somehow. She didn't look mean. She didn't
No way
act
for
mean,
him to know that. Yeah.
I'm not sure he even registered it right away.
Probably not.
I really don't know that he did. He didn't really react at all.
Yeah.
And so I really kind of thought he might just be in this isn't happening. No. I'm going to wake up any minute. This is not happening.
Okay, what else do you think is going to happen? What's next? How are they going to surprise us next?
Man.
So we've seen an idol at Mana that got played, so another one may come back into circulation. Mm-hmm. Right? Troyzan's still holding on to the Tavua one.
Yeah, but
even though Cirie told us that he's dead man walking.
So there's one that's been found at camp, one that's been found at the challenge. Mm-hmm. So is the next one going to be a tribal council?
Yeah, it could be, huh? Hopefully it's not new. Well, do you want to say that? I don't know. What if it ends up being Nuku that goes to tribal council again? JT finds it, plays it, and takes out Sandra. That would be quite the turn of events, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would.
Yeah, when he knows he's targeted.
Sandra finds it and takes out JT.
Well, she doesn't need it.
Actually, I like them both, so...
Mm-hmm.
I like JT less right now because he was in cahoots with Culpepper, and I just still don't quite understand what he was after, unless it was just Sandra, and I understand that. But I thought, why would you put such target on yourself to be the first person to get up and walk over and talk to Brad?
You're talking about the guy that wrote a note to send to the other tribe, sweetie. Are you forgetting? Heroes versus villains in the big JT fiasco.
You're right. I guess I just wasn't.
He sends love letters to folks on other tribes after shuffles.
JT darling.
So just walking over and having a discussion at tribal's nothing to him.
I like him. He's a good old boy.
He is good.
But
I'm saying this part of his MO, so it's not a surprise.
You're right. I guess I hadn't thought that all the way through, but I still don't know why you'd stick yourself out there. You saw what happened last time. You did that.
I thought he was going to go over and say, I hope you guys are voting for Sandra. That's who Malcolm and I want to vote for. Are you going to vote for Sandra? And they were going to work that out. So when he said, hey, they're targeting Sierra, I was lost immediately. I'm like, where's this coming from?
I know. That's how I felt. It's like, what?
So I remember Sandra had mentioned they were targeting her, but how is this going down? So I felt like I was just as confused as the other folks, even though I'd got to sit in on their conversation and overhear them potentially targeting Sierra.
Well,
it was a surprise still to hear him say that.
I'm sure Probst was sitting there going, and we haven't even had to deal with the tie thing.
Yeah.
Because it's in the back of their minds. We're not having a tie here. We're not going to draw rocks.
Oh, yeah, Hali reminded them of it when she made her illusion by saying the rock solid alliance.
If you're rock solid.
Yeah, I liked that. Was interesting. Hali was like, I don't consent to go vote. I'd never thought of it in those terms.
Well, he did ask.
Probst won't let them go vote until everyone says that they want to vote. I don't know that's ever been spelled out.
So.
And she's like, well, I don't consent. So he had to sit back down.
But he did ask this time.
Yeah.
And she said, well,
at this point,
I didn't consent.
He's not in control of tribal council when that happens.
No. And
he's giving control over to them in that moment.
It was funny because he was like, all righty then. I'll just sit back down. I guess we're not done. And then they had the conversation, and Sandra said, no, it's okay, Hali. Well, okay. And she just gets up, and he's like, all righty then. I guess I can stand up now. We're voting. They just did it without him. He wasn't even hosting at that point. And that was what was funny to me, that he was acknowledging it.
Right.
By the kind of look on his face at that point. But I enjoyed all of that. That was different and awesome, and definitely this is a very different group of players being brought back.
So next time on Survivor's talking about how JT's going to have a hard time. You think Hali's going to have a hard time?
I don't think Hali's in any different position than she was when they went into the tribal council. She's still...
You think JT was?
So far on the bottom of that.
Yeah. JT
I think
was
JT's
in his tribe
worse
too.
off. Yes.
Yeah.
I definitely think JT's worse off. Definitely.
I don't know. He should be held accountable. She should be held accountable just as much as him, the way that all went down from what we saw.
Well, she voted the way they wanted her to. She stayed with them, but how can they really blame her for making it completely clear she's on the bottom of that tribe, and that she was trying to look out for herself and make whatever move she could.
I think she was trying to protect Sierra, because again, she did not know that they had a hidden immunity idol.
I think she thought she could play with Sierra and Debbie if they could just get Brad out, and even Yao Man. That he wouldn't be.
Ty.
I mean, you
did that because I said that earlier in the week.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to let you own that. Yeah. Now you did it.
Yeah, you're right. And but now I can see how easy it was for you to. But Ty, I don't think they would see him as an issue. The girls would kind of take over at that point, I think. But though he would be more malleable, maybe.
Well, unfortunately, we got to talk to Malcolm, so that's tomorrow. I was going to say I was looking forward to it because I wanted to try to get some answers, but I don't want it to seem like I'm happy that he's gone necessarily.
No, it is, and I'm part of me as a fan is excited with the shakeup and the big shock and the big, and even that, because Malcolm was so arrogant in the beginning of the game and on the videos and all that. But, I just really feel gut-wrenchingly bad for him.
Yep.
Because he wants it so
He's going to have to do a Boston Rob. He'll have to win on his fourth time, not his third time.
It's got to be hard to relive this tonight.
So, yeah.
So
I don't know. It's any different from any time anyone else gets voted out, but yeah. But not even. He's progressively done worse now each time he's played. That might weigh on him a little more.
It would mean.
Not even gonna make the jury this time.
Oh, ow.
Yeah.
Well, look at all the players that didn't make the jury. Tony, Caleb. Well, Caleb did make jury last time, but Sierra. And I thought, he's going to show up at Loser's Lodge, and there's 2 people there that he's sitting home.
Yeah, thrill them, I'm sure.
So.
Well, I tell you what I am excited for is I'm excited to hear what the other superfans thought about this episode and everything that happened. We had some pretty good challenges, some excitement, some from behind wins, and then we had just a whole new dimension of Survivor with this 2 tribes go, vote out one person, never before, idols played, all this talk, everything that happened.
It wore me out.
Yeah, that's true. You were visibly more tired after the episode was over.
Oh, my goodness.
I think you had an adrenaline dump at the end. You got so excited watching it. But I'm really looking forward to hearing what other people thought, how they think everyone who's left in the game is playing, what their experience was watching that tribal council. We got several ways for you to participate in the listener feedback show. You can call our standard voicemail line, 206-350-1547. There's our toll-free version of that number, too, if you need it, 844-643-8737. And then there's the email, joanneandstacyshow@gmail.com. You can record your own and send your own audio and send it as an attachment. We'll take all that and put it together in 3-minute clips on Saturday. So get that in Saturday, noon Pacific time, and then Joanne and I will get that show put together. Yeah, it's great when you get it in before. Wow, we've had, almost half of them. Folks have been doing, that's a good point, folks have been doing really great.
That's right, they have.
Getting their feedback in early, because we've been knocking out a few on Thursday, and then we're about half of them have come in by Friday night, right?
Yeah.
I did like 9 or 10 audios last Friday, I think, to get those ready, which helps so that it's not so crushing on Saturday. It's great when you can do that. And remember, there's some questions to get your thoughts going. I always include that at the website at get@sfp.com. Samantha did really great with that. Drew used some of those, I think, last week. And so if you're not sure how to structure your feedback, that can give you some ideas for how to do that. We look forward to hearing from you. I'm excited to get your thoughts on this one-of-a-kind episode. It's certainly been a different one. And so, they've
certainly
changed the game. And
another first.
Yeah, we got some just amazing results with this episode. Anything you'd like to add before we wrap it up?
I think I'm done.
Excellent. Well, have a good one.
Good night, everybody.